Kenny Greenberg on the podcast. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
How you doing?
Saturday, almost noon.
This is the only day you have free, right? Saturdays when you're not on the road, because you're in the studio every other day.
Well, not every other day, but, a fair amount.
A fair amount.
A fair amount.
Okay, you just wrapped, a residency at the Sphere with Kenny Chesney.
Yes.
What was that like playing at the Sphere?
Fascinatingly enough, on stage, it was pretty normal. From the stage perspective, you can see all the 3D, and we spent a lot of time on content. We did some content over here in my studio, and for like the show opener and some other things, and then we rehearsed in Vegas for 2 weeks and worked on the content. Over those 2 weeks, I went to see Dead & Company twice. I highly recommend seeing them at the Sphere, because they are the best band to see at the Sphere with the way the technology of the video works. It was fabulous. Highly recommend it. So, and then we did our residency, and like the first couple nights, you can't help but you're looking around and there's all this amazing stuff happening, but you start to settle in and you're playing a gig and you're on stage with your musician friends and you're playing a gig. And that's so it was for me, and also for the way his fan base is, where they were watching the video, but we've heard other people talk about the disconnect there, where you feel like they're watching the video more than they're watching the band. We didn't really have that. They stayed. He's a very charismatic performer, and people were still, they're more focused on him than me. I'm over on the side, but it felt pretty normal. And it sounded great in there. We have a great sound man, and I thought it sounded incredible in there.
How do you mix your ears on that gig? Do you have a lot of Kenny? Do you have no Kenny? Do you have a lot of everything else?
We have a really great monitor engineer, and the way I like it to sound, where it's pretty record-like. Like, I don't have myself too loud, and I need to hear the vocals because I like to play off the vocals. In a recording, I like to play off the vocals as well. To me, it's the most important part. And so I have just like a kind of a normal mix, honestly. Sometimes I have a little less bass, especially playing stadiums, because there's so much bass that comes up through the floor that I don't need a lot of bass or kick drum in my in-ears, because there's so much in those big places. So those are sometimes, if you were to hear it like off stage, it'd probably be a little bit bass shy for those places. But in general, I've heard some other people's mixes where it's like all them. And for us, and we're kind of like, it's really like a country rock bar band is really what his band is. And so for me, I just want it to sound like the band sounds and hear what everybody's playing so I can interact. There's a lot of guitar solos. As you've seen the show, there's a lot of guitar in that show. So you want to be able to play off of everybody else. So yeah, I've got just a normal mix.
So you go into rehearsals for 2 weeks in Vegas, prepping for the Sphere.
Yeah.
What is there to rehearse at this point? I'm sure there is a lot of stuff to rehearse, but are you figuring out parts? Or are you just getting tight? What are you doing for 2 weeks?
Well, first of all, Chesney and his crew and the video crew, they have been prepping for the Sphere since last fall. A lot of work went into it. And so the show we were doing at the Sphere was different than the show we would do in a stadium. And some of the video was tied to the songs. So they were fine-tuning that. And they were also, they have this soundstage called LMG that's in Las Vegas. We rehearsed there, and they had a mini Sphere thing set up with the video and the surround sound, and so we could work things out. And also, we needed to be somewhere where our sound man, who is Robert Scoville, who was Tom Petty's sound man for the last 20 years. He's amazing.
He's been with you guys forever, right?
He's been with us just 3 years.
Or just
but
3 years. Okay.
He really wanted to be in an environment where he could have the surround sound speakers set up before he got in the Sphere so he could figure it out. So some of it was for Scoville, some of it was for the band, definitely for the video people so they could tighten up and change things. The other thing is that one of the nice things about playing at the Sphere was that because of the medium in the video and the way it is, we did a different set list than we would normally do. And some of it was a little more adventurous, and some deeper cuts, some slower songs, which I thought was really, really great. So, yeah.
What was the part for the intro that you recorded in your studio? Was it the big intro animation part where you guys were underwater or whatever?
Yeah, so we watched that animation here.
Yeah.
And we had the whole band here, and Kenny was here as well. And we worked out how, some cues and how long we needed to be and when the drums were going to come in and how we were going to do that. So, yeah, we did all that here, and it sounds awesome. I think that the intro thing sounds great. It was funny because this is like A. Holmes. It's my basement. And, he was going like, it sounds amazing in here. I said, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
This is a good space you got
here. It does
here.
sound good.
Yeah. I've heard you say in interviews that you feel like sometimes you can actually play guitar louder in clubs than you can in stadiums, or maybe you can ride your amp louder.
Totally.
Why is that? Or I've never played a stadium with Kenny. Why is that the case?
The physics of that is fascinating. It's like I can play in a club and have my super reverb or whatever and have it just rocking loud. And in a theater, from a theater on up, you get more into the other mics and there's more phasing issues and getting the sound out. I mean, I think someone like Robert Scoville could tell you exactly why that is. I'm not really sure. It's sort of a mystery. But like we had all our amps. We did play through amps. They built a special stage, and there was actually below the stage, there was this whole sort of catacombs network of where Danny Rader's acoustics and his banjo and his electrics were over there, and this guy would bring them up through this little walkway up to the stage, and my stuff was on the other side, and the drummer had a guy that would come up from underneath the stage. So we had this whole thing underneath the stage, and our amp heads were underneath the stage, and we had speaker lines, and our amps were out in the hallway.
Really?
But we played, I played the Firebird, loudly through an amp the way I like it, and but it was out in the hallway.
Yeah. Because wasn't there something like when The Edge did it with U2, there was something going on with the amps and he had to go direct with a UA?
So my understanding is he used the UA pedals, which there's the Ruby right there, which I use a lot, and I got the Woodrow right there. They're incredible pedals. And I saw them at the Sphere, and I can tell you that he sounds like the way he sounds, and it sounded fantastic. All the bands I've seen at the Sphere, I think that U2 had, as far as just the sonic quality, it was killer.
But no one gave you any pushback about using real amps at the Sphere. They were like, let's do it. Bring it on.
I was ready to play through
one of those,
the Ruby. I like the Woodrow a lot.
Yeah.
I like Fender Tweed amps. And but Robert Scoville said, well, I want to rock through amps. That's how I get my sound. So we had them. I can actually send you a picture of what it looked like, and I can show you how he mic'd it. I have pictures of that whole thing.
And people were walking underneath the stage, basically. The stage was that tall that people were walking underneath it?
Yeah, they built a special stage for that. Yeah, so it was about a 7-foot overhang from the roof, and they had where the guy that runs the in-ears, and the whole thing was all this whole catacombs thing. It was pretty cool to see. So if we go back there, I'd love for you to come see it.
I was so bummed that I missed it.
It's a trip, and it was. But on stage, it's just, I felt to me like, I just playing the way I always do. Yeah.
When you say it sounded great at the Sphere, how do you know from your ears, or did it just sound great in your ears, and that's how you know?
It's weird, and you probably can speak into this. Even in clubs.
Yeah.
Or doing Wicked or whatever, you can tell when it sounds good in the house. You can just kind of feel it. You know what I mean? And also my friends that came to see it, and And my wife, when she came, and my kids, they said, Dad, it sounds amazing. So,
Greatest gig ever. I was watching this video online from like 9 years ago, and you were talking about a session that you just came off of with Derek Wells and like Rob McNally. And it was like, oh my God, those are still the guys today.
They're they right now, they are the guys.
Those are the
much
guys.
more than me.
No, what are you talking about? You're Kenny Greenberg.
They're right now, as far as modern country.
Yeah.
As far as that's concerned, those are the guys, and they should be. This is their heyday.
Those are the guys. So I was watching this video and I was like, oh my God, they were the guys 9 years ago. You were shouting them out. They're the guys today. And they're the best. They're unbelievable.
They're unbelievable.
But I look at it and I go, where is there room to break into the scene with these guys? It's so competitive, right?
It's because it's always going to change. And what's going to happen is that this is the way it's always been, is that there's going to be another artist. There's going to be a new Jelly Roll who's 25. And his buddies that are all 25 wrote the songs with them. And some incredible guitar player and drummer played on the demos, and they have a new sound, and they're going to be the guys, and that's the way it goes.
So there is an opportunity, you think. The opportunity is what? You have to get in with the next artists, and you have to play on their records because they can't get Derek Wells and Rob McNally yet.
Yeah, I think it's word of mouth. I think it's playing gigs. I think it's it happens in different ways. For me, it was playing clubs around town, and I started backing up songwriters on songwriter nights, playing acoustic guitar with them or bringing my electric and one small amp. And that particular songwriter would go, oh, I got a publishing deal, and I'm going to go make a demo, and it pays $30. Would you come play on it? And you're, yeah, sounds great to me, So, and then you play on that, and maybe one of those songs makes the record for whoever was the artist of the day, and the producer goes, I love that. What is that weird guitar part? It's not, somebody else played that. Who played that? Get him, And then they call you up and you show up and you play.
Yeah. Isn't there a story, like maybe it was Richard Bennett, where you showed up to a session and he basically sat down with you and showed you exactly what to play. He helped you dial in your tones.
Yeah.
And he showed you exactly what to play. And like that was monumental. Why? Because you didn't really, like, he showed you how to do it.
Yeah. He was producing, actually it was the first #1 record I ever played on, called Tear-Stained Letter, by a Cajun artist named Joel Sagne. And sadly enough, if you go on iTunes or Spotify and look for it, he re-recorded it much later in his career. So that's not the record that we made. And it's a Richard Thompson song, and it has this winding, cool Richard Thompson guitar part. And so Richard Bennett brought me in to be in the band making the record, and because I played on a demo, and he was on the demo with me. The demo story. I played on a demo, and he loved what I played, so he brought me in. And in that particular song, the song Tear-Stained Letter, not every song, but on that particular song, I started out working, when we overdubbed and did the solos and stuff, I started out playing through my Super Reverb with I think I had maybe a Les Paul and a Strat, and that's all I had. And he said, man, let's really work on the sound. So we went into the control room with all his stuff set up, and he walked me through it and walked me through the part. And it was just the most gracious, kind, I mean, he could play circles around me, but it was so cool that he did that. And he was a guy that, a lot of from Steve Earle's Guitar Town to the Emmylou records he produced to Neil Diamond, he's a guy that he's amazing. So I got to be around him and learned. Like the first time I saw someone play a Gretsch, a big Gretsch guitar, excuse me, was Richard Bennett. And there's a whole kind of way to play a Gretsch. And I watched him.
What is the way to play a Gretsch?
The way to play a Gretsch, we could stop and I could grab a Gretsch and show you.
Let's do it. Should we do it? Can we grab them quick?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's see the way to play a Gretsch.
Okay.
Okay, we're back with a Gretsch.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you play a Gretsch?
Well, I'm not sure if so much how you play it. It's that I just had never played a Gretsch before, and I watched Richard Bennett play it, and he just had this like elegant way of like, you know.
Yeah.
Just beautiful kind of stuff. I mean, I'm kind of clumsy when I'm playing it right now, but it's just this way of moving, you know, and, you know.
Kind of like I always think of him playing the Tempted solo, Marty Stewart. Like that's that sound, right? And so you put a little bit of tremolo on it, right? A little bit of delay.
Yeah.
And that's how you do the Gretsch then. What did he teach you when you're in this session and he's graciously showing you these parts? What was the skill sets, or what were the skill sets that you didn't quite have developed yet that he was pointing out to you?
Getting the sound. Yeah, getting the sound. I mean, I kind of had a solo worked out, but it was really how to get the sound. And I played through his amp and his gear, you know, but I played my guitar, but he just helped me get a great sound. And he just sort of, and now that I'm producing records, I do the same thing where you just sort of try to coach them through how to carve out a part. And he helped me figure out how to do that, you know. And the other thing that always sounds good on a Gretsch is, which is nothing. It's anybody could do it, but just.
What specifically is what you're pointing out? That little twiddly
hammer.
That hammer on. Yeah.
Sounds like Buffalo Springfield.
Yes,
I mean,
right?
What else?
So how do you get a great tone? Do you ever sit in the studio with all your cartage and you have every great piece of gear imaginable, and do you ever just go, God, I can't figure out how to get a great tone today, or I'm struggling and I shouldn't be struggling. I've got all the best stuff.
Yeah.
What do you do then? How do you carve out a good tone?
You just try to relax and just simplify. And actually, a lot of times, for me, a lot of sessions I do, I don't have all my cartage and stuff. I have an amp and a guitar and a couple of things I brought in my car. I mean, it's a different world now. I think the world of where there's big budgets and everybody has tons of cartage, I mean, that world is still there some of the time, but I mean, I know Rob can speak into this as well. I mean, Rob is probably, to me, probably the busiest guitar player in town. A lot of times you bring, the budget's small, but it's a record you really want to be on. Or the other players or players that you want to play with, you take your Fender amp in your car and a couple guitars and a little pedal board, and you have less choices, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
How do you have go-to settings for different types of amps? Like I was watching this video you did for Fender where you were talking about when you set a Fender amp, you usually put the bass pretty low or you don't crank the bass too high.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Because it gets hollow sounding to me. I saw I think Albert King playing through a Showman, and he had the bass all the way off.
Yeah.
And it just sounded huge. And I think, I mean, sometimes you want bass, but especially if you got the amp cranked, when the bass is cranked, it hollows out the middle of the sound. So on Fender amps in particular, I like to. And Marshalls are the same way. I like to pull the bass back. And also in recording, you usually don't need as much low end as you think you do. In the post, they're usually removing bass from your sound.
So it's just easier to start out with less bass in your amp, essentially. So on your Marshall too, you'll set your Marshalls with
Pretty low bass.
Pretty low bass.
Yeah.
And how do you set your matchlesses typically?
The matchless on the rotary switch, because I use channel 2. I don't ever use channel 1. On the matchless, on the rotary switch, I just have it almost where the bass is almost all the way up, because for me on a matchless, it sounds good that way.
Yeah. How much of playing sessions is just a mindset of being really confident in the room?
I think it's, you don't want to be unconfident, but I think it's more about listening to what everybody else is playing. I think it's not so much confidence, it's paying attention to what the other people are playing and not mowing people over with your brilliance. You want to be able to be a team player. And I worked with Mac McAnally, and he was saying I was always the rhythm player. It was always, and I worked more than anybody. So I thought, well, there's some wisdom in that.
I love watching you play rhythm, especially when you play blues. You're such a great blues player.
Yeah.
Can you break down a couple different maybe blues rhythm styles? If you're backing up a blues artist.
Oh yeah.
How would you play rhythm? And there's so many variations.
Yeah, can I grab a different?
Let's do it. Let's do a guitar swap. We need a guitar tech for this interview.
Yeah.
Okay, so blues rhythm, I don't know, maybe a B.B. King style blues.
Well, B.B. King didn't play rhythm.
He didn't play rhythm, but somebody in the band did, right? Yeah.
So B.B. King is almost more swing blues. So that would be That's kind of a rhythm. That's kind of swing blues, So the beats all. That's swing blues there, yeah.
So you're thinking lots of 9 chords.
Lots of 9s,
right?
Yeah, and maybe even just doing not wide chords it's just 2 notes.
Yeah.
As opposed to
which 2 notes are you playing?
I'm playing the 7th and the 3rd, and then all you got to do is move down, and there's your 4 chord.
Right.
And then there's your 5 chord. So.
That's enough.
That's it. And then there's this. This is stuff that probably the blues players out there are going give me a break.
No, but we're gonna ramp it up in a second. Yeah. This is level 1.
So put your thumb. That's another thing.
Little turnaround.
Yeah, which is in a lot of ZZ Top records, but it's just an old, which is really a Robert Johnson lick.
Yeah.
But if you play Feth,
beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So how do you think about, I don't know, substitutions, for example? So if you're playing a song and you're playing that a 1-4-5 over and over and over, 12-bar blues. What else do you throw in to kind of mix it up?
It's just listening to what everybody else is doing. If there's an opportunity to walk down when you're going to the 5, you can go. I'm going to get to the 5 a little quick.
Yeah.
You can just get down there.
Where's that from? Where is that from the lineage of blues? Where does that come from?
I think that one of the great blues players, one of the greatest rhythm players, period, is Jimmy Vaughan.
Oh, yeah.
And if you listen, there was a era when the Thunderbirds first came out, and this really dates me, and we all had cassette tapes there were a lot of bored cassette tapes of the Thunderbirds of Jimmy Vaughn playing like a 2-hour gig. And I just remember watching him. That's what he did. There's a song called Extra Jimmy's, and he just walks it down like that. He comes off the... That's what he did, you know?
Yeah.
So as far as substitutions, I think it's whatever's happening. It's like, so if it's a little slower, like... It's just all, you know, dominant seventh chords. It's just...
Right. Where do you pull that from? Where
I don't know. I just, maybe I heard Duke Robillard do that.
who is Duke Robillard?
Roomful of Blues?
What is that, an album I should know? Is that a great blues album?
Yeah.
I gotta listen to that.
There's a bunch of records by a band called the Roomful of Blues, which is a big horn band
Yeah.
from Rhode Island,
Okay.
right?
I
They're
always
from
like my Rhode
I don't
Island
really know.
blues guys.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So, but this guy Duke Robillard, who's just kind of a swing, and also the guy who's the greatest was Hollywood Fats.
Yeah.
And Hollywood Fats was this West Coast kid who made one record, but there's a couple of videos of him playing live. For swing blues, he's the baddest. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Ask Guthrie,
Yeah.
or J.D. Simo, or any of those guys that know a lot more than I do, and they'll say Hollywood Fats is the guy. So he would a lot of substitutions. So and then, which is like playing a horn line. So if you're playing ba-doom doom doom ba-doom doom 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 you're just playing horn lines, but you're playing like there is no horn section. You're on a 3-piece, 4-piece blues gig, so they're playing a shuffle and somebody's playing a solo, and the solo starts to build, and you start playing horn lines underneath them, but not horn lines that get in the way, that are not the chord that are rhythm, like da 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 da, just standard T-Bone Walker stuff.
And you probably just, it comes so natural to you, but when you're coming up with those horn lines to play, are you hearing the melody in your head and then thinking about what notes you can stack on top to build them? Or you're not even thinking
I'm
that
just paying
much?
attention to what's going on in the band. And if like somebody's playing a organ solo, and like I did this the other night with this guy Jimmy Walls, who's a great B3 player.
Yeah, I love watching him
on
play,
the gig with he was playing, and next time around it went bigger and bigger. So the last time around, instead of playing rhythm, I started playing the horn stabs. Like that's the apex of the solo, of accompanying someone on a solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a swing blues right there.
Okay.
What's another?
Well, my
type of
favorite
rhythm?
is the Texas blues, and I apologize for the real Texas people out there, but I love the whole Slim Harpo, Lazy Lester, Jimmy Vaughn style of playing, and that's just. Here's the 5 chord. That's the Texas blues.
That the 5 chord. What were you doing? Something. It almost sounded like
Well, the 5 chord should be.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the Jimmy Reed records, he doesn't do it because he doesn't know to do it, and it creates the sound where you're playing, which sounds completely wrong with me playing it solo. But in the context of a band and people knowing that stuff, I love that. I mean, sometimes you hear, they're not going to get this, I shouldn't do that, and you just play.
Yes.
That's kind of Texas blues.
What is the context though where that move with the 5-chord works? Do you just have to feel it out?
You just have to feel it out. It's when there's not too many people playing.
Okay.
If there's a lot of people playing a 5 in the root, then it's going to sound like a mistake.
Yeah.
But if it's not, it really works. I like the sound of it, but I wouldn't like the sound of it if there was an organ player and a horn section and another guitar player, and they're all playing. If you're playing, it's not going to sound good.
Yeah.
So I like that style of Texas blues. I'm not a Texas person. I'm just sort of, what do you say when you steal someone's style? I've accommodated their. I'm just sort of stealing that, but I'm a fan of it, would be a good way to say.
Yeah. What do you have a couple turnarounds that you love, a couple blues turnarounds that you always go to, that are your go-to?
Yeah. My favorite turnaround is this one, in this style of playing, is this thing that is, it's a Jimmy Vaughn thing. That's all I know. And, once again, there's people in Texas that are really good at this. But for the turnaround, I like this. And also, it's also very Lightning Hopkins-like. A lot of this comes from Lightning Hopkins as well, who played more of a big, an acoustic guitar or a big guitar with one pickup and one amp. But he's very much of a Texas thing. And so there's that. Then there's the, there's that, and then there's, there's a bunch of ways to do it. Or you can go. So there's a lot of stuff,
I love this interview that it wasn't even an interview. We were doing a video for Brett Papa. Who were you playing with? You were playing with another guitar player. And you guys were playing blues. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, it's the guy that, he was actually in a later incarnation of the Thunderbirds. His name is,
You guys were both playing blues. Like he was playing a 335 or something. You were playing a Strat. Why can't I think of his name?
He's incredible. I just showed up over there. I actually don't know him very well. I was dropping something off, and he said, "We got to play on camera." I'm like, I'm
gonna overlay his name on the video.
Yeah,
he was playing a lick that you were like enamored by. It was like almost like this bouncing kind of hopping blues. Like you might not even remember what it was, but and you were kind of learning, and then you were both playing it. Almost might have been like a triplet lick or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. There's also, you can also do, this isn't what he was doing. Which is, and this is a Robert Johnson. That's like slow down. Yeah. That's a Robert Johnson lick.
How do you learn all this stuff? Just by listening for your entire life?
I was a blues nerd for a long time. I say I was because I don't really have much chance to play that anymore. But I was a blues snob, where all I listened to were blues records. I was Freddie King, Albert King, Lowell Fulsom. I don't know, everybody. That's all I cared about.
Kirk Fletcher, right? That was his name.
Kirk Fletcher.
Kirk Fletcher was his name. Yeah. That's who was playing
He's
that
amazing.
lick. Unbelievable. Yeah.
He's really, really great. I think he has some instructional videos. The other guy to check out that has really good, he's sort of a jazzy or blues player is Jack Rusch, Rusch. I watched his videos and he's a badass.
Yeah.
He knows his shit. Rob McNally, though he's kind of a mainstream country session guy, is a deep well of blues. He knows all of this shit.
Yeah. How do you do that style of blues where you're kind of accompanying yourself? Like I see you kind of throw it in a little bit, like when you went to the 4-chord a moment ago, you were kind of throwing in licks where you were playing the rhythm and accompanying yourself below. But if you do that kind of, Robert Johnson-y thing or Reverend Gary Davis thing or something like that, like how do you do that style?
That's more on an acoustic guitar or a resonator guitar, and it's just another version of an acoustic guitar player accompanying themselves. And I'm not, I do it, but there's a guy, and we'll probably have to research his name as well. There's a guy who was the band leader on the Nashville show, and he is the deepest well of acoustic blues that I've ever met. He'll tell you the difference between Lightning Hopkins and whoever, and do a slight variation. He's the guy. What is his name? We'll find his name. He was band leader for the Nashville, when the Nashville artists from the show toured. Colin, his first name is Colin. Whatever his last name is, you can find it. And
Yeah, we'll find. We'll look it up.
He is, and probably I wouldn't be surprised if he has instructional videos. He's the deepest well of acoustic blues and how to play all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's pretty amazing.
All right, give us one like totally out there blues lick that goes a little bit beyond the pentatonics. Is that a tall ask?
No.
Something like, give us something when the people at home are sick of playing the pentatonics all over their blues.
Okay.
How do we spice it up a little bit?
Okay. So here's one. So this is a note for note Duke Robillard, room full of blues lick. So getting from the 1 chord to the 4 chord.
Everybody makes that move.
Okay.
That's a classic move. We gotta know what to do over it.
Here's his lick. So it's like, let me see if I can. It might take me a couple times to do this.
We'll pick the best take.
Fuck this up. But it's like. Isn't that a beautiful lick?
That gets you to
so if even on a slow blues like. That's a great lick. The same, whenever that record, when I was in my 20s and was putting the needle over and over again, when he went to the 5 chord, and I'm going to completely blow this, but it was like, so you're going to the 4, you're getting ready to go to 5.
Oh, that's great too.
Isn't that a great lick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that lick.
Love that.
Yeah, it's just.
It just takes you out enough.
Yeah.
That's great.
Here's the Willie Nelson turnaround.
Yeah, what's the Willie Nelson turnaround?
So say that we're in E. That's a good one.
And he plays that on the acoustic guitar, or
he plays that on Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain.
Yeah.
Listen to the end of his solo. He plays. Start singing the next verse.
How do you remember all these licks? I have learned so many licks in my day, and I feel like I forget 90% of them. Like, I don't have a catalog of them in my head.
This is number 5 of my 10 licks.
But do you feel like sometimes I hear a great guitar player's joke about how, I only have 10 licks, and then you start to like hang around them, and you realize it doesn't make them any less great, but you realize, wait a second, they kind of only do have 10 licks, but they know how to use them. Is that really how you feel about your playing?
For me, yeah. I'm a real simple player. Like, I don't have shred fast. I just don't do that. Other people do that. I sort of kind of knucklehead my way around and figure shit out. That's the way I do it.
But at some point you must have transcribed a million blues licks, and you pick your top 10 or 20.
I didn't ever transcribe them. I would just listen to them. I still do it. I listen to records and I hear, and it doesn't have to be the blues. My favorite thing to do is to have the time to sit around, and I hear something that inspires me. I want to know how it goes. And now on YouTube, you can find anything. And so to sit around and figure out, oh, that's so cool. Or just to listen to the record. There's a thing called the amazing slow downer.
I use that all the time.
Yeah.
I
use I've done Hendrix licks. I've used that to try to figure out what he's doing. I'll use the amazing slow downer and figure out how the licks go. Or if you've got a pickup gig, you're just talking about doing pickup gigs.
Yeah.
I'll use the amazing slow downer to try to figure out what's going on because I don't know what's going on.
Do you use Moises? Have you used Moises?
No.
This is going to be your new thing. You put a track into it, and it uses AI, and you can isolate everything except guitar, and it works freakishly.
Is it MOISES?
It's MOISES, I believe. And you put it in, and it scans it, and it'll pull up bass, drums, vocals. You can isolate anything. But I've used it to learn so many parts because sometimes the guitar parts are like buried, or it's hard to hear.
Two other stuff.
Or it's hard to hear exactly what's going on. And you do this, and you swipe away the vocals, you swipe away the drums, you swipe away the piano, and you just hear the guitar. It's freakish.
Wow.
And it'll slow it down too. There's a slow downer in the app too. It's crazy.
Of course there is.
Kenny, can I ask you about a couple iconic sessions that you are listed on as playing, but sometimes it's hard to know because of credits and everything. It's hard to know what was played on which session or anything. Yeah. You're listed on the Steers and Stripes session for Brooks and Dunn. Do you remember? Did you play on any of those songs from that session, or do you remember, or you have no idea?
I played on about 8 or 9 of their albums. I just would have to know the song, and I would have to. If I hear it, I could tell you right away, because I can always hear me, because I like something until I hear that it's me, and then I'm like, is it in tune? What's wrong with it? You know?
Are there any, like, were you playing on any of their singles, or like Ain't Nothing About You is on that album? Is that you playing, or Ain't Nothing About You?
Yeah, that's me.
That's you.
I think I'm the only electric player on that.
Do you remember that part?
I do remember that. I remember a couple things about that session.
Yeah.
So, quick story?
Yeah. Give us the story.
So, they first brought me in. That's the first record I played on with them. And that might have been the first song we cut because I had played on the demo by Rivers Rutherford.
That's right.
And I had played on the demo, and the producer I eventually got to work on a bunch of records with, whose name was Mark Wright. There's Mark Bright and there's Mark Wright. This was Mark Wright, who's an A&R at their label, and he produced Gary Allen and a bunch of people. He produced I Hope You Dance. And so they brought me in because they heard me play on the demo. So they brought me in to play, and I played exactly what I played on the demo. Same guitar, same amp. I remember exactly what I played on that. And there's another song up that has America in the title that had a... And one of
Which
those
almost
parts,
sounds like that could be a Kenny Chesney intro or something.
And so I played, that was kind of this thing I played on up-tempo. I was Into the Edge. It's really imitating the Edge. So there were 2 songs, and that other song was a single. Might have been the title of that album that had Only About You on it, the title song of it. Anyway, but Only About You, that was I used to have, I still have them, they're in the back. I have these big body Yamahas that are like Gretches, and I put Gretsch pickups in it. It had a Bigsby on it, and I played it into an Echoplex because it ramped up the gain, and into an AC30, which I also still have. And that's the sound I got for Ain't Nothing About You. And I have to hear the song, but it was just all like, it was just chord stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember how it goes, but it was just chords like. I mean, that was the intro. That's not exactly it, but it was those kind of big chords, and that's what I played. But the other thing that I remember about that session is that I had a back injury right before the session, and my back was freaking killing me, and I could not sit. I had to stand. Because, in the studio, most of the time you sit, And so I had to stand, and because it didn't hurt my back to sit. And standing, and that's how I play gigs, so I thought, this is natural. I'll just stand. So I stood up and I played and did the thing. And I remember when I went into the control room, I heard Ronnie Dunn go, "He's so cool, he stands when he plays, man. He rocks." It's like, no, it's like my freaking back was out.
Your freaking back was out. Wait, so did you come up with the riff Or was the riff on a demo or something?
It was
it already exists?
probably what I would have to hear the demo. There's a 50-50 chance he played that on a demo. I think that Rivers, who's an amazing acoustic player, I think he played that chordal riff on his work tape
Yeah.
when we made the demo, and we said, "Oh, let's just make that the riff." It's sometimes chords are the best riff, like "Start Me Up."
Yeah, right, right.
So yeah,
It kind of is a Stonesy kind of intro on that
so,
song.
So that's
yeah.
that's how that happened.
Okay, we're cleaning up some credits here because it's so hard to figure out what everyone plays on. Sinners Like Me, Eric Church, you played on, you're listed as playing on that record too.
Yes, that's his first record.
His first record, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything notable about that record? Do you remember what you played on that record?
I don't. The producer's an amazing producer. That was the beginning of his country producing career. Jay Joyce, he's amazing. He's an amazing guitar player. The only thing I really remember about that is we cut one song with everybody in a circle playing live, and Chris Thiele was playing
A mandolin.
mandolin.
Yeah.
I was playing acoustic. I thought that was super cool. I don't remember the name of the song. That's all I remember.
Unbelievable. Okay, what about Riser, Dierks Bentley? That's my favorite Dierks Bentley album.
I think I just played on one day of multiple days. I'd have to hear the song. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
played on a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
Just a few things.
Okay, also, your list is playing on Fearless, Taylor Swift.
Yep, got it right here
You guys did right here.
with Nathan Chapman.
So Nathan comes over. She wasn't in the studio, I guess. So he comes over with a demo or a finished a session or something.
He's got a session, and he comes over, and very Nathan Chapman, like who's on those early, it's Nick Buddha on drums, and I can't remember the bass player.
Tim Marks played bass.
Tim Marks
on
played
some
bass
of that
on
stuff,
that,
right?
And Nathan played like everything. He's amazing, and so he came over. The Fearless was their second record. And he came over and said, "I'm so sick of my guitar playing. I just want someone else to play the part." It's not any kind of a big deal. He just wanted the sound of my amps and to be in a different room, and very smart as a producer to do that. So he wasn't repeating himself. He could have played the part in his sleep. I don't even remember. I'd have to hear the song. I haven't listened to it, but it was really just Nathan taking a break from playing guitar.
Yeah, right. What is the skill set to become a great session player? Because I feel like I spend so much time practicing all kinds of things, and sometimes I go, I don't know if what I just learned, that'll work in this setting, but that might not work in a Nashville setting. I might just, that might be of zero value in a Nashville session or whatever. What is the skill set that you can try to develop at home before you get called to do the big sessions?
Playing in time and playing in tune and simplifying things. I'd say those three things. And I would say that when I first started to get sessions, everybody said the same thing. The producer would say, "Dude, just do your thing. Do what you do." Like anytime I go, like when I first started sessions, I tried to play like whoever was the player of the day or have that sound. And they would always say, "Can you just go get your super reverb and do what you do?" So I think that's really what they look for. Is they're calling you because they want you to do what you do as opposed to what somebody else does.
What if you're not very good though? Then you got to get good.
I think it's practicing. I still practice. I get up in the morning and practice. I like it. I enjoy it, and also because I'm older, to keep my hands working, and it's practicing playing along the records you like and learning the parts on the records that you like, and playing gigs, and being the guy that they call back to play the gig, even if it's for at the 4 o'clock slot at the 5 spot, because you're a good rhythm player and you fit in good with everybody. That's and also not having a shitty attitude.
Yeah, right.
Pretty important.
That
goes there for everything.
Yeah. What is country rhythm today? Like what is the
it's anything.
It's anything.
It's anything. I don't think country is so wide now. It's a lot of classic rock, but it's really anything. And it can be anything. It's whatever you like, whatever fits the song, It's It's always about. I got to do sessions with Reggie Young.
Oh yeah.
And that was him and JT Cornfloss are the two probably session players. Richard Bennett would be the three session players that I had the most impact on me, just to watch how well they figured out how to integrate into the song. I mean, Reggie Young, ask Dan Huff or anybody. Reggie Young, he's like the greatest, and he had that ability, to do from Dusty Springfield to Dobie Gray to just a million records. He was just the guy. I played on him with the Etta James record. It was Steve Cropper, Reggie, and me, and I was in my 20s. That was an amazing experience. You watch them figure out how to integrate into the song. So yeah, I would say that.
What have we left out? What's been unsaid, Kenny?
Man, I don't know.
Play us out with something. Can you give us a desert island lick or a something?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. One of my favorite records I was played on recently.
Yeah,
and also produced it, but it was really just being in the room with everybody. There's a record. It's an Americana record that did not get much attention, called "Better Than Jail," and it's to raise money for awareness of the county jail system, and it's all jail songs. And Bonnie Raitt did a great song on it. Steve Earle did. I Fought the Law and the Law Won.
The Clash.
Yeah, and so we cut a song called "County Jail Blues" on the Warren Treaty. That's my favorite thing I've played on in a while. It's cool.
That's cool.
It's a good record. And the middle solo is Jerry Douglas on lap steel.
Yeah.
Then I take the out solo. But the singing and the way everybody plays on it, it's just one of my favorite things.
What do you feel like is maybe your most iconic riff or solo or lead that that maybe people don't even know is you on a song? Is there one that you think about, or is it hard to say?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that would be. I would have to think about that beforehand to say, hey, that's me.
I would think about this all the time. I'd want to know what's my most famous guitar part that I played.
I don't really know. I mean, that's a really good question. I have absolutely no clue.
Okay.
So my favorite thing is, a lot of times it's the most recent thing I played. I'm so excited about it.
So it's that record that you just talked about?
Yeah, and that's a year old. But I just really enjoyed playing on it. I enjoyed playing on Bonnie Raitt's last record.
You sound great on that record.
Her band was amazing. And I sort of joined the band for the making of the record.
Yeah.
And it was an honor to get to work with them. They're great musicians.
Did Duke Levine call you to learn any of your parts or anything?
They're so simple he didn't need to.
Yeah. They're great though. There's one song on that record that's name is escaping. I think it was the single. It was like a very simple blues riff that was like, yes. That was a great song. I thought that record was killer.
Yeah. That song was originally done by not the Brothers Osborne. It's the Brothers Landreth.
Really?
It's a Canadian group.
Yeah, I love the
Brothers Landreth. And you know who Sonny Landreth is? Well, the Brothers Landreth, one of those brothers plays slide.
Yeah.
And he sounds kind of Derek Trucks like, but he's got his own thing. He's amazing. They wrote that song. And so it's really just a version of his melody that I played.
Yeah.
He might have played it on slide with more of a fuzz tone, but that really didn't work, so I played it on a 335.
Yeah.
And I played it on that 335.
The one right there.
That's the one, man.
I love this story, too. When you were a kid, you found like a 62 SG in the trash can.
Yeah.
Or what happened? You were walking home from school one day?
Yeah. Want to see it?
Yeah. Do we have it?
Yeah.
This is the trash SG. So you're walking home from school one day, and this is sitting
in a trash can upside down like this. And it doesn't have the pickups in it, and it's broken right there.
Right at the heel.
Yeah, but just slightly broken, and doesn't have the pickups in it. And so I was like, were you throwing that out? I said, we're throwing it out. It's actually when I was 18. So I drove by the house, and so I always kept it. And when I moved to Nashville, which like a year later, I went to this place called the Pick and Parlor.
Yeah.
That had guitar repair guys, and they said, "Oh shit, can he fix that, and we'll get you some pickups." So I got some these kind of pickups in it, and I've always had this.
That's a badass
Yeah,
SG.
yeah.
So
That's
was
right.
it routed? Are those, I guess, mini humbuckers or
No,
what?
we didn't. I don't think they had the route. They just,
They
didn't
just-
have pickups in it. It comes with P90s. It's the 62 SG.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Yeah, that's it.
Badass.
There it is. I also have a guitar that Jeff Beck carved his name in.
Because weren't you playing a gig with him? This is a great story. You were
Yeah.
playing a gig with him, and what? He kicked you in the leg, right?
Yeah, I played his solo. Oh, you've heard?
No. Say the story. What's the story?
So the story is he shows up to play a gig with us. We actually rehearsed in the afternoon. He comes out, he plays, and we decide to do, or I say, let's play from his first record. There's a song called "Rock My Plimsoll."
Yeah.
And I said, let's play "Rock My Plimsoll." And so we play that, and I happen to know his solo, how his solo goes. And so he took the solo break and he did the whammy bar stuff that he does, and it's like I have something like a person from outer space just showed up. And then he looked at me to take a solo, and I played his solo.
Note
He
for
just
note.
looked at me and kicked me, and I thought, this is the greatest moment of my life.
And did he carve his name in with your permission, or he just did it without asking?
No, after the gig, and we're sitting in the dressing room, and he's just a lovely guy. And he said, I said, can I get a Sharpie, and would you carve, would you sign the back of my pen?
Yeah.
Oh, he broke a string and he played that guitar. I said, would you carve, would you sign
it,
my
yeah.
guitar? He said, mate, if they had some warm beers here, because Englishmen like warm beers, get me a couple warm beers and a knife, and I'll carve my name in it. So I go back out to the bar. They were putting Guinness. They were stacking the Guinness, but they were warm. So I got 2 Guinness, and there was a biker dude that I knew, and bikers, they carry their.
So you asked him for a
said,
knife.
can I borrow your knife? And I took his buck knife and went back in the dressing room, and he sat there for like an hour, and we chatted, and he ornately carved his name in the back of my.
And what does he say? What do you ask him?
Oh, just stuff about, I don't remember what we talked about. Just nothing, just chatting. Although I do remember one thing. I made a joke and I said, hey, Jeff, hang around town. I'll get you on some country sessions. He goes, oh, I love country music. And he flipped the guitar over and went, just lightning fast, playing these bluegrass, foggy mountain breakdown. I was like, holy shit. Play anything.
Did you ever aspire to play like that? Like when you were a kid, were you like, oh my God, I'm gonna be like Jeff Beck one day?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't. I always loved Jeff Beck. I mean, I just always. I never thought that I could ever do the things that he's done. And actually, no one can play the way he played.
No one plays like that, right?
No, he was an original, and yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Kenny Greenberg, thank
Got
you
it
so
done.
much for taking the time
Yeah.
with the Trash Can SG right here.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the one.
We're wrapping up with Kenny Greenberg. See you next time.